So with that said, I'd like to transition now, and before I do, Victor, why don't you sort of introduce yourself? We've known each other for just over a year. Monique and I go way back, but you were introduced to me by Monique. And
Yes.
before you tell your story, though, I think it's important for the audience to understand. Hey, you're an entrepreneur. And just kind of give them your background, please.
Yeah. Well, I run about 8 companies that we started and founded, kind of do a lot of operations. All of our businesses are focused on Mexico. We buy and distribute products in Mexico, or we offer services in Mexico. We offer customs broker services. We offer inspections for the Mexican Ag Department. We rent equipment to factories. We distribute sweeteners, spices, a whole slew of things. And I started business with my father in 2013 and really started to take off. We also distribute fertilizers. We started distributing fertilizers in 2016. Annual revenue for my company last year was $220 million.
Wow.
But we do a good amount of business. That's collectively across all the companies. That was our revenue for 2022. And
Wow.
and so yeah, we do a good amount of business. We stay busy.
Yeah.
But and it's just not just all me. We have partners and stuff like that. But it just varies between the companies. But yeah, we do pretty well, and that's kind of my business background of kind of what we do. I met Mack. I met you last year when I was interested in buying a property, a beach condo. Kind of a little bit about me is I've always worked. I used to work for my dad since 2008, and even since then, I made good money. I was just as an employee back then. I was never able to get a loan. And it's okay if we start this part of the story about my background here with the loans?
Absolutely. So here's what I'd like to do, and let's tell the story with with the video that you and I sort of put together with your story.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, I'd like for you to, pick up that story from when you began to dream, or the family began to dream about owning a beach house, and sort of describe the things that you went through. But let's watch the video first, because there's a superhero in that video that I want everybody to see, and you know who that is, right?
Yeah, it's my superhero.
Yeah, the red cape, So hang on one moment. You ready? Here we go.
Meet Mr. Hernandez family, a family with a dream of a vacation beach house. For 14 long years, he tried to secure a home loan, but success remained out of reach. Until one day, a real estate agent introduced him to her favorite lending partner, Mortgage Mack, the superhero of home financing. Like a true champion, Mortgage Mack faced monumental challenges head-on, overcoming financial obstacles and navigating complex paperwork with ease. And in August 2022, Mr. Hernandez's dream became a reality. Thanks to Mortgage Mack, hope and vision were restored for their future housing dreams. Mortgage Mack, turning dreams into reality. Your dream home awaits. Contact Mortgage Mack today.
Does that summarize it for us?
Yeah, gave me goosebumps.
The only thing that I was missing is we should have put Monique in a K and put a hashtag M3, or let's see, or hashtag MH, or something creative. because had it not been for Monique and introduced you, we would have never met.
That's true. That's
so
correct.
With that said, go back to the very beginning when you started to apply. So you shared with us, you you have thriving businesses, 8, different types of companies that you're dealing with. And so I'm going to turn this over to you, and you tell us about how it all started, that process in relationship with mortgage companies, and we're going to dive deep on that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I went to banks, traditional lenders, and it was always the same situation when I would go ask for financing. The first thing they would ask me is for my tax return. They wanted to see a W-2. I don't have a W-2 because my sources of income are always from Mexico. And so I get paid from Mexico. So I'd do a 1099. I've always done my tax declarations, everything good as self-employed. But every single lender that I went to, when they heard that I would get my income from Mexico, it was just a straight, nope, sorry, I can't help you.
Bonk.
Yeah.
They didn't hang up on you, did they? Were they at least polite?
Yes, they're polite, but it was just, no, it was like the conversation ended. I'm sorry, I can't help you. You got to do something else. And golly, that I probably tried 12, 15 times throughout the years. The first time I remember was in 2008, trying to buy a multifamily property, and I had decent income. I thought I would qualify. And even then, later on, to most recently was in like 2018, 2019. And even during the pandemic, when the interest rates were like 2.5%, 3%, I think I tried once because I wanted to take advantage and buy something. My current house right now, I had to buy cash because I couldn't get financing. And so the thought of, ever owning another piece of property or even a nicer home was a bummer. And for my work, I travel all over the world and unable to stay in these 5-star hotels. I charge it to the business, but
That's a sad indictment. That's a sad indictment on our industry. What do you believe that you were discriminated against because you were self-employed, or do you think it was just, you believe it was discriminatory? And was it specific to maybe, you based upon where your companies were from? What is your perspective on that?
I think 100% it was discriminatory because I couldn't even get a shot. Like they wouldn't even go like deep into reviewing my tax statements.
Did they even ask you to apply? I mean, because as a federally licensed mortgage loan originator, right? We are federally licensed today. And if I understand my responsibility as a licensee, I have a responsibility to, if somebody asks to apply, to encourage them to apply, and maybe even state the potential challenges. But I believe I have a responsibility to at least let you apply and give an appropriate evaluation. Did anybody even suggest that to you?
Not once.
Not once.
Not once.
Wow.
I never. You were like the first actual application that I completed, because every other time I was just I wouldn't even make it past that first threshold question of, what's your income? That was verbal communication I would have when I would go to the bank or the mortgage company or whatever. Is what's your income? Where did it come from? And as soon as it said, oh, it comes from Mexico. Gosh, I went to what are those credit unions? I went to national banks. I went to local banks.
Wow.
Sorry, but you're a different person, Mack. And so
I do thank you for that. And I'm going to let Monique chime in here. And Monique.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like you go above and beyond. I mean, that's why I introduced you to Victor, because I knew when Victor, said, hey, I really want to buy something. I've talked to all these people and everybody turns me down. And it had been many years. And I was like, if you're really ready to make the jump, I was like, Mack is the way to go. Like, and I know like you're so passionate about it, and you're so passionate about helping people, realize their dreams. So I knew it was like, if anybody could do it, you could do it. I was like, Mack can do it. Like,
Yeah,
Mortgage Mack, he can do it.
I know you spend a lot more than the average time on me. And so, than you probably would a normal customer. It was probably a really difficult situation because I remember we were working and we had to apply in a couple, I don't know how it was. I don't know all the terms. I'm sorry. You can talk to me about trade and selling spices or fish or seafood, but when it comes to mortgage stuff, and that's probably why I didn't know all these terms when I would talk to these lenders. I would just tell them how it is from my point of view. I make my money in Mexico. I have my companies in Mexico. And most of the time it's, you say, oh, you coming from Mexico, they think you're a drug dealer or you're doing arms trading or something. It's like, no, I don't do it.
And it might be a different form of discrimination, but it is maybe sort of a form of discrimination and or a presumption of, I don't know what the term would be, but it's.
I think it is. I had one lender report me to the FBI because they thought I was probably laundering money. I was like, oh my God,
Oh
it's
my
just,
goodness. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. That's terrible. And and the reality of it is you're a shareholder in
Mhm.
multiple corporations and they pay you commissions for what you sell here in the United States. And
But
you reported and the tax returns were appropriately filed and validated by the Internal Revenue Service. The hardest part of your transaction, Victor, was where did you buy? Tell us about the home you
Well,
bought.
it was because we were buying in a condo on the island, and it was I forget the term for the type of condominium.
Condo tail.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. And so that was the hard part, was finding the lender for the condo tel, but it wasn't because of me. My income was validated, and everything went good.
Yeah.
We pres- we
That's
presented
right.
bank
Yeah,
statements, internet statements,
yeah,
everything, and we got
yeah.
everything validated.
Monique.
Yeah. I mean, that was like, I think the hardest thing with that situation. And I guess of all the lenders, as far as like working with self-employed, I mean, I know you have to go the extra mile and you have to spend a lot more time. You're working with one of my agent's clients right now that, it was the 11th hour, right? And with the financing contingency, and their bank just went silent on them, like no response. They still to this day have not heard back from the other lender, their bank that they worked with. It's all the time. They own a lot of property. And yet they couldn't get an answer from them, not even communication. They just went radio silent on them.
Yeah,
And,
and
you
this is
jumped in on
a
that.
relatively large bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
and they waited 20 days into a 21-day financing addendum to finally say, hey, sorry, we can't help you. And what do you do at that point? You know what you do? Call hashtag M2.
my agent called me and she said, what do I do? Like, this deal's going to fall apart. And I was like, and her client really desperately wanted to buy a house. They were ready for it. They just had a baby and things like that. And so they were ready to move into something. And I was like, we got to call Mack. And so I called Mack and he jumped right on it. You like went into overdrive with them. And I think it's not even been 10 days and we're at conditional approval. We might get a clear to close, I believe, right?
We are working on the clear to close. There's still conditions, and I always, so when I dive into that situation, my first goal is to analyze income, period. Because if you don't have the income to qualify and it can't be validated, then it's really, everything else is a waste of time. And that's what I dove in and did. And you're right, it was very, very, very complex. And and I got to admit, the first time I got on the phone with those buyers, I just kind of faked it and realized what I should have been saying is like, hey, I need to get back to you because it's going to take me a couple of days to read this. But once I read it and had, because that's what I love about GR. We are a mortgage company, and that's all we do is mortgages, and everybody at our company is geared and focused on helping buyers, realtors, builders buy homes, close on their homes, and enjoy the American dream. And that's what I love about this company. And the
But
Yeah,
What else?
But I was going to say, like, if, anybody's out there listening and they're self-employed and they're thinking, like, I can't get approved for something, give Mac a call. If anybody's going to do
try
it,
Mac. I'm serious.
call,
Like,
just
Yeah.
so
text Mac, call Mac, whatever it is, and he'll make it a reality. So,
I don't just say that, it's just for me, it was life changing because, you know, I never thought it would be a reality of owning a nice property, and
It's a
even have,
nice property.
it's a nice property. I
I
was
forget what
I
floor
was
it's on. What floor are you on?
so grateful to
Overlooking
I was,
overlooking the Gulf of Mexico?
yeah.
the
It's
23rd floor. So, yeah.
27th floor of the condo, and it's just no, I never dreamed. And you know, I guess I would dream. I never thought it'd be a reality with my
Yeah,
situation. I thought it'd be something that have to be, I'd have to buy cash right out, and when you're a self-employed business person, you have to put your cash to work in your business. You can't really always be cashing out large amounts to buy these personal luxuries. And so yeah, I'm still grateful to this day.
well, I'm grateful for having met you, and we talk on a regular basis, and Monique and I still work together. And thank you for thinking of me. And it's funny. Your Letty asked me, "Hey, do we need to extend the contract by the 31st?" I'm like, "Oh, no, no. My plan is we are closing." So, but I do know that we still have some conditions. But it helps if you have a borrower that is willing to just say, "Okay, I'm going to put faith into this person, in this instance me, because you didn't know me then, and but clearly, Monique, I'm sure, um, gave me some kudos that, hey, look, if anybody can sort this out, and that's what your clients that we're working with now have done. If they've just been really, it's never, hey, why do you need this? And do you know how many times I hear that when I'm trying to help? So why do you need that? And it's, hey, because that's the way this industry works. We are a documentation intensive industry, and and rightfully so, because when we weren't documentation intensive, and look what it did to the worldwide economy. It created, we were on the virtual financial abyss there for several years during the Great Recession. So I think the industry has matured since then. I think it's a much better industry, and it's tragic that you still are going through. People are still going through things that Victor went through, and and I don't think it would be discrimination based upon last name or
No,
color or race or anything. I just think it was just discriminatory based upon the fact that it seemed complex, and just verbally in conversation with you, it did seem complex. But again, I'm the professional, and I believe that I should be the one making that decision based upon the evidence, and or helping you make the decision
exactly.
based upon the real evidence of the application and the financial documents. So a true assessment can be made as to the qualification of the individual. And so they can enjoy, a dream home on the beach.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, hey, look, thanks for joining me today. I'm super excited. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do this weekly, but I'd like to think that maybe there could be something here that might resonate with the public, resonate with real estate agents. And Victor, I can't say enough about our friendship, and letting me and my
Wow.
wife hang out in your condo. And
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
yeah, yeah. And Monique, thanks again for your referrals. And if you're out there and you're tuning in today, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you at closing.
All
Bye
right.
now. Thanks, Mac.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Mac.